introduce myself, I'm LeNaya Hazel, and I'm the director of the Veterans Office, and have been in this role for about 4 years, supporting our military-connected students here at Georgetown. I'm a military spouse. My husband is in the reserves and is currently activated, serving overseas, but he also went through the evening MBA program at Georgetown, so I'm very familiar with seeing the support that the MSB provides our military-connected students from the sidelines. So thanks again for joining us today and your interest in attending Georgetown University. And so I'm here alongside with my colleague, Rachel Cardwell, who will introduce herself in a minute. But we have a couple of slides to talk about what it means and what are services that we provide our military connected students, and then just go over some bare bones information about how to use military education benefits to fund your program if you're looking to do so. So Rachel, do you want to quickly introduce yourself before we dive in?
Sure. My name is Rachel Cardwell. I am also a spouse of a Marine who's now a veteran. And I've been in higher ed for about 15 years now, and I've been at Georgetown in this role for a little over a year.
Great. Fantastic. So we will go ahead and attempt to move. All right, so we're going to go over the overview of the Veterans Office services. Again, some information about our benefits, specifically with the Department of Defense, and an overview of our VA education benefits. So, I don't know. Here we go. There we go. So, our mission statement: Georgetown University is proud to serve those who have served our nation and our communities. The Veterans Office and Certification Team commits to support military members and their families pursuing their education goals by ensuring a campus culture that cares for the whole person. We incorporate the Jesuit spirit of pure personalis into advising and programming as a way to honor the founder of the Jesuit order and wounded warrior, St. Ignatius. We guide students through their Georgetown experience, provide resources for personal growth, and encourage continued service as women and men for others. So we really wanted to highlight that Georgetown has a strong connection to our military-connected population, and it really goes back to our roots in terms of, again, St. Ignatius, who founded the Jesuit order, identified as a veteran, and in his transition process was overcoming, like, what should I do next after my service? And that's when he decided to find the Jesuit order. Our colors, blue and gray, come from the Civil War, where we had students and faculty who fought on both sides. And so they had to reintegrate together and working together in that regard. And so our, based on being located here in Washington, D.C., we have a wealth of military installations in the area. And those who decide to move here in the area and then separate out or retire out and stay here. And so we really value having, all of that in our backyard, as well as tying to our mission into supporting our military connected population. So you'll hear me use, or hear both of us, Rachel and I, use the word military connected, where that includes the active duty service member, reservist, veteran, military spouse, and military child. And so we wanted to provide a breakdown of where we are as of the fall 2019 semester in terms of our numbers. We are close to a little over 1,100 military connected students on all of our campuses. Specifically in the MSB graduate programs, there are 135 military connected students. So there's a good population enrolled in that school alone. So you'll have a good balance of being in class with others who identify in similar experiences of serving in the military, but then you'll also have the opportunity to engage with civilian U.S. Students, as well as international students as well, to bring that diversity of thought into the classroom. So some areas that we provide support in conjunction with the MBA office and as well with our certification team in the registrar's office. We do a lot of work in advising, so admissions, doing webinars, things like this. educational finances, navigating how to use benefits and scholarship opportunities specifically to the military connected population, academic support for some students who may have been out of the classroom for a while. What are some resources both on and off campus that may be able to assist you? Career transitions and wellness support are some areas that will also tag team with other units on campus to support students in those areas. Again, benefits and scholarships, once we get into the weeds of things, we can assist in some of those areas in partnership with the registrar's office. You do a fair amount of student programming in tandem with the McDonough Military Association, which is a student organization in the MSB specifically for MBA students. And so they're a great, great resource. If you haven't already reached out to them, they do a lot of support and advocacy in the admissions process. But we do a fair amount of programming and partnership together as well throughout the academic year. And so we have a couple other student organizations throughout the university that we also do a fair amount of partnership. Alumni, engaging with our alumni in a meaningful way, not only to just identify who they are, but then how can we build relationships with them and connections with current students, especially to tie into that career development aspect. And then the last area is just capturing through assessments who our population is, how are we raising awareness about what their needs, what are some general support services that we can provide, or what are some areas that we can better advertise resources that are on campus or off campus to support them throughout their academic journey. I'm going to transition to Rachel to talk a little bit more about Department of Defense and VA benefits.
Yes, thank you, LeNaya. So I'm just going to kind of quickly go over DoD benefits and VA education benefits. If you guys have any questions, I believe you can ask them in the chat box, and LeNaya and I are happy to answer them. So tuition assistance, I'm sure most of you are aware of how this works, but it pays $250 a credit hour for pretty much, I think, all the branches, up to $4,500 a year, with the exception of the Navy. The Navy is capped currently at $3,000. If you're enlisted, essentially you just have to finish the class before you get out of the service if you're using TA. If you are an officer, I believe you have to agree to serve more time. So definitely check into that with your education office before signing up for TA. You can also use Top Up, which is it essentially that pays above and beyond what TA covers. You can actually use it with Chapter 30 and the post 9/11 GI Bill. I would recommend, before you guys start using Top Up, definitely give us a call, and we can kind of walk you through what that looks like. There's also something called Advanced Civil Schooling, ACS for short. This is for eligible active duty and reservists. There are maximums that the military or DoD is willing to pay. It is, of course, dependent on each student. The idea essentially is that they're going to cover, hopefully cover your education in full. If there is a gap, you won't be able to use any kind of VA education benefits to fill that gap. You will have to fill it with scholarships and grants and things like that. And if you have any other questions about ACS and kind of the details or how to apply and how it works, definitely reach out to our office and we can walk you through that. Excellent. On to VA benefits, we decided to talk about only the main ones that are probably kind of encompassing everyone that's on the call. If there are benefits that you're interested in learning more about that I'm not covering today, again, please feel free to email us or call us. I believe our information is on the last slide. In most cases, when you apply for Chapter 30, Chapter 31, or the post 9/11 GI Bill Chapter 33, you will be able to get a certificate of eligibility, which we call a COE, from the VA prior to the start of the class. We will obviously certify your enrollment, or school certifying official. Essentially, we don't require on the first enrollment, so you have some time to actually get it to us. And once admitted, if you have any benefit related or certification related questions, you would actually direct those directly to the school certifying official, which I included their email address at the bottom of the slide. Next. So we'll do a deeper dive into Chapter 30, the Montgomery GI Bill. It's essentially for eligible service members. They will receive up to 36 months of benefits. The benefit is going to be paid directly to you. Can also have a higher rate you pay into the buyout program, which is an additional $600. If you're a full-time student, you can expect a little over $2,000 a month, and then 3/4 time it's about $1,500 a month, and then it goes essentially down from there. These are the tuition and fee rates available on the VA's website as of today. I will say that around every August 1st, normally the rates change, but this is what we have as of right now. And then LeNaya, we'll click it one more time. If you're in the full-time MBA program, one of the scenarios essentially is their estimated tuition and fee cost is a little under $60,000 for a year. And then you're gonna receive, being full-time, about $2,050 per month, which is gonna equate to around $17,425 for the academic year. So then if you're using this benefit, your out-of-pocket would range around $42,000, which you could then use financial aid, loans, or scholarships essentially to fill that gap. Next. The other benefit is Voc Rehab. I do want to preface that this is not a GI Bill benefit. This is a rehabilitation and employment benefit. This is something if you were injured in the line of duty or just injured as a veteran as a result from something that the military trained you to do, and now your injury says that you now can no longer do what you were trained to do, the VA will essentially pay to rehabilitate you. And they do that through education. Because if you now need to find other employment avenues, those employment opportunities may require, or more likely do require, a different type of education. So with that comes the Vocational Rehabilitation and Employment, Chapter 31. The approval process can take about 6 months from start to finish. However, if you are approved, essentially you're covered in full. They pay all tuition and fees, supplies. You also get a monthly housing allowance, and even if you need a laptop and one is required for your program, they'll even cover that. So this is a great program, and if you have any questions, like I said, just give us a call and we can give you more details about it. Next. So post 9/11 GI Bill, which is the most popular benefit currently, it essentially pays up to, if you're 100% eligible, the cap right now is $24,476.79. If you're going to a private institution, if you're attending a public institution, it matches the highest in-state rate. Tuition and fees are paid directly to the school. The book stipend and housing allowance, if you're not on active duty, is paid directly to you. The housing allowance is prorated based on your rate of pursuit, or what the VA, what they consider full-time or part-time. You do have to be greater than half-time in order to receive a prorated amount of housing. And then there's also the Yellow Ribbon Program, and that will help essentially offset some of the cost once you've reached the cap for a private institution. Next. So the Yellow Ribbon Program, as I mentioned a second ago, it's a voluntary program for private or public institutions. So basically Georgetown, we are a Yellow Ribbon institution, and we have a very generous Yellow Ribbon contribution. And we decide, what are we gonna set? And whatever amount Georgetown decides, the VA will match that amount up to that amount. You must be 100% eligible for the post 9/11 GI Bill. You cannot be on active duty or receiving transferred benefits from a spouse that's on active duty. However, with the new Forever GI Bill changes, effective August 1, 2022, if you're on active duty or your spouse is using benefits, your benefits while you're on active duty, you will now be eligible for yellow ribbon, but again, that's 2022. Next. So the post 9/11 GI Bill, I have, I think, 4 payment examples here. So example A, if you're a post 9/11 GI Bill and you're 100% with the yellow ribbon for the full-time MBA program, like I said, the estimated tuition and fee cost is a little under $60,000. The estimated post 9/11 GI Bill payment would be $24,476.79 because that is the current annual cap. The McDonough School of Business, as I said, is a very generous yellow ribbon contribution. They will contribute up to $15,000, and then the VA will match our contribution of $15,000, leaving an estimated out-of-pocket expense per year, which is a 2-year program. So per year, you'll have about $5,300 out of pocket, which you can then attempt to fill with scholarships, and in which we have a huge list on our website as well. Next example. So example B is if you're a post 9/11 GI Bill, you are 100%, but you don't have yellow ribbon because you're on active duty or a spouse using benefits of someone who's on active duty, then that's, but you did receive maybe a scholarship from the McDonough School of Business. So the way that works is you have the tuition and fees, and then you would receive a tuition-specific scholarship, has to be applied because VA is last payer. And then so we would subtract $5,000. And then, so we would report that net to the VA. The VA would then pay the $24,476.79, which would leave an out-of-pocket expense of $30,000, a little over $30,000. So come again, August, 2022, this will not be an issue as service members on active duty will be able to participate in yellow ribbon. And again, I wanted to note that these scenarios are based on the tuition and fees that Georgetown has available today, including our yellow ribbon and the VA GI Bill, their maximum amount that they currently are paying out per year. Next. Example C, you have the post 9/11 GI Bill, but say you're not quite 100%. Therefore, you don't have yellow ribbon. So the way the VA is going to do that is they're essentially going to say that you have 80% of the $24,000 that I quoted earlier, which equates in this scenario to $19,581.43. So then you would have the tuition and fee charges. The VA would essentially make that payment of the $19,581, and then the delta would be the $40,252. And then last one, example D. Now this is the post 9/11 GI Bill if you're 100% with the yellow ribbon and you're doing the Flex MBA program, which is a great opportunity if you want to go full-time or also be part-time as well. So as you can see in this scenario, for the first semester, fall, you'd be a full-time student at 9 credit hours. Because it's below the $24,000 cap, the VA is going to cover that semester in full. Then you move on to the spring semester where you're taking 6 credits. Your tuition and fees are $11,837, and then the estimated payment from the VA is $6,629, and that's because that's essentially brings you up to the $24,000 cap, the annual cap. And then at that point, you now tap into yellow ribbon. And that's where Georgetown will put in half, which is the $26,0361, and then the VA will contribute the other half, remaining $26,03. And then, so your estimated pocket for spring is again 0. And same thing with summer. Again, 6 credit hours, you would be considered a full-time student for summer. And then again, tuition and fees are the same as spring. And the GI Bill, since you've now capped out of your benefit, you have no, VA is not going to make any additional payments under the tuition and fee cap. However, you do still have yellow ribbon remaining. So then Georgetown essentially is going to pay half, and then the VA is going to kick in the other half, which again leaves you with an out-of-pocket expense of 0 for a full academic year under the Flex MBA program. And I think, and then, yep, and that's all I have. If you guys have any questions, or, please let us know. LeNaya, I will turn it back over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Rachel. That was beyond helpful. So hopefully those breakdowns as to how the benefits work kind of help you shape as to what you're looking at in terms of financing. We cannot emphasize enough that benefits are unique to the person. So if you have specific questions about what benefit types you are eligible to receive, we can ask specific questions or guide you to connect with the VA so you can learn that information, and then we can walk you through the process as to how that would work attending one of the programs at Georgetown. All right, well, I think that wraps it up for today. So again, if you have any questions as you're going through the application process and have questions about the benefits or just the culture overall, feel free to email us at veteranservices@georgetown.edu. Either myself, Rachel, or our grad assistant, Nick, will be able to assist you. As well as if you're looking to connect with someone who happens to be a military connected student at Georgetown, we'd be happy to connect you with the McDonough Military Association. And of course, if you are on the webinar, that means you're already in contact with the MBA admissions team, and they are a great resource in terms of questions about the application process, as well as the curriculum and degree program itself. So you have a team of us here to assist you as you go through the application process, so please do not hesitate to reach out at any point. So thank you again, and best wishes.